Hey guys, dating life gone pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies.
Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. Planning your Saturday night can be a bit of a bitch. How about we make rock, not war? Load up Toxic Radio every Saturday night for the Heavy Metal Happy Hour with the one and only Fishman.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
There will be interviews, ticket giveaways, a little bit of banter with Toxic Mike, and of course great metal from the 80s all the way through today. Starts at 7 p.m., runs until Fish says it's over.
Get out.
Catch it only on Toxic Radio. Don't play it safe. Play it toxic.
Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really.
Aww.
But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
Hungry for Hope Nation, your host here, Donnie Hart, and I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, my co-host, Big Time Jim Gorgeous. That's the best introduction in all the podcast world. I don't care what anybody else says. I'll take you against anybody. We're also joined, we have two guests today. We have live in studio. We have a local South Jerseyan, strong and proud. We have Elizabeth Starr. Say hi.
Hey.
Elizabeth's going to be sharing her story, she's going to be sharing her story later, this inspiring story of her weight loss journey, how she lost 100 pounds, went from obese to competing in physique competitions. But first, we're going to have live on, we have a call-in guest from New York. We have Jillian Cannon. Hey, Jill.
Guys.
How you doing?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Good. First off, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Where are you from? You from by Albany or?
No, I'm in Buffalo.
Buffalo. I was way off.
Yeah.
But, hey, Jill, thank you for coming on Hungry for Hope, talking to Hungry for Hope Nation. We brought you on because I came across your story. It was on all the news.
Crazy story.
It was crazy. I like the ending, man. I'm always looking for it. Our show's all about inspiring people, turning negatives into positives. We need this in the world. And I saw your story. You got, correct me if I'm wrong, like 150 packages delivered from Amazon. And
yeah.
And you know that had to be hectic, but you turned it into something positive by reaching out to Amazon. And you tell this story better than me. Tell us how this happened. Why?
Yeah. So around the beginning of June, I got a package delivered to my house, and we get a lot of stuff for my business delivered here. So initially, I thought my business partner ordered something. So I opened the box, and I was like, "Why did you order mask brackets? All the mask mandates are coming to an end. It's not really anything we could use." And she's like, "It wasn't me. Did you check the name on the package?" And I was like, "Well, why would I do that?" So double checked the name, and it wasn't my name, but it was my address. So I reached out to Amazon and they were like, oh, sometimes this happens. You can go ahead and keep the packages. And at this point, it was only like a handful. So then the next day, more packages came. And every day after that, we just started getting more and more deliveries to the point where we were getting like 3 and 4 deliveries a day. And by the very end of it, they were coming by freight delivery on pallets delivered to my driveway. So after all the back and forth with Amazon, they haven't really clarified if they were able to find if it was a seller or somebody trying to empty their warehouse or what the situation really was. But they were able to get the additional thousands of packages that were set to ship out to stop. So I am no longer receiving them. However, I do have about 100,000 mask brackets that I am partnering with Amazon to turn into little DIY kits because I own a do-it-yourself studio here in Buffalo. It's called Loaded Lumber. And we decided to repurpose them and come up with something fun that we could donate to the kids that are in the hospitals that still have to wear the masks and utilize the brackets. So Amazon was willing to donate the supplies so that that can be possible. And we came up with these little kits here that just have like
there's also I see crowns.
Yeah. So they can do like a decorate your own face mask kit while they're in the hospital and just make it fun, kind of change up the monotony of being in the hospital and just give them something fun to do and utilize the thousands of brackets that might not otherwise serve a purpose.
How'd you come up? First off, you're awesome. That rocks. Where did you come up with? When did you go from? First, you had to be frustrated getting all these boxes, not getting answers. Were you like upset at first?
I mean, not upset. It was just.
You can be honest here. We
can
be honest. You were a little upset.
Yeah, no, but like anyone that knows me was like, this could only happen to you. Like, it's
There's
just so
picture.
Fitting.
We just put the picture up. There's some of the boxes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was definitely interesting when they started coming. In the beginning, it was just kind of funny. And then it was like, the more that came, it was just like, is this real life? Like, when are they ever going to stop? And I mean, my kids loved it. And the neighbors all thought it was hilarious. And my poor dad was the one that kept coming over and moving all the boxes for me off of my porch because they were coming like either when we were at work or late at night. And it was nonstop. And so Amazon, I mean, in the beginning, they kind of blew it off, I think, because they were just like, oh, okay. And then, like, once the story started to get a little bit of traction, and I think once it was shared on, like, Jimmy Fallon, they were like, okay, let's look into this a little bit more and see if we can put an end to this.
I was going to say, it blows my mind that Amazon was just like, meh, who cares? Like, there are hundreds of packages.
And I've from other people, too, that, like, they've gotten things and Amazon's just like, oh, go ahead, keep it. But I think that's, like, 1 or 2 things, not, like, 100,000 brackets.
Did they ever find out the source? Was it, like, somebody who was, like, sending you packages as a prank? Was it the wrong address? Was there a sender? Did they find out?
They haven't really said. They did say that it was another purchase. Like, somebody did make the purchase and it was going to the wrong place. They couldn't verify how my address got with this person's order because my Amazon account was never compromised. Like I didn't get charged for anything, nothing linked back to my account whatsoever. But trying to look up the name that was on the packages, I didn't have any luck that way either. So, and I mean, I'm sure that they, for privacy reasons or whatever, can't be like, oh, it was so-and-so that lives here, give me his information. But at the same time, they were just kind of like, okay, it's taken care of. That's that.
When did you go from, having the packages to the idea that you came up with? Who came up with the idea of turning this negative, you can call it a negative, I guess, into a positive? Was it your idea? Was it the kids? I'm sure the kids thought it was nuts. Was it the dog's idea? Whose idea was it to...
So I have a really amazing network of friends who are all small business owners, and I was just like, okay, I want to do a kit. I don't know, like, how I can turn this into something positive. Like, somebody help me with the idea. I've got these brackets. We can't really turn them into anything else. They don't really serve any other purpose outside of what they're made for. And one of my friends was like, a decorate your own mask. And I was like, yes, I love it. So from there, it just kind of evolved, and it was like, okay, they could decorate the mask. They could do like a little coloring page with crayons and stuff. So we kind of just tapped into what we already do at our studio and just found a way to tie the mask bracket in, because outside of being used to keep your lipstick off of your mask or help you breathe better, there really isn't anything else that these things can be used for, because we have tried everything.
I just want to know who was originally trying to order 100,000 mask brackets at this point.
Right?
We gotta find out. I gotta find out who ordered these. How do I find out?
I don't want to put him on blast. I do have his name.
So it's a he. You said a he. So we got it down. We went from,
yeah.
All right,
there we go.
we're
really
getting.
Be able to narrow it down now.
Do you know what area? What area in the country they were from? Were they from the country?
No, so that's the other part. Like, they shipped from every Amazon warehouse throughout the U.S. Like, they were coming from Texas, North Carolina, Colorado. They all had the same shipment ID number, which apparently means nothing to Amazon. And that outside of that, that was the only information that there was. I tried scanning like the QR codes on the UPS boxes, and nothing would come up. And I gave them tracking numbers, and they weren't able to pull anything up that way either.
So you investigated this pretty heavy. Was Amazon?
Oh yeah.
I know in the communication in the beginning they weren't too helpful. When did, I guess once you got the media involved, that's when they changed the tune, or is that when they?
Oh, me and the girl from the executive customer relations, we are besties now. She calls me on a daily basis to check in.
That's awesome. Do you ever wish you would have got something like chocolate instead of like mask, or something cool,
like maybe an air
puppies or
fryer
something? I don't know.
150
boxes of puppies? I don't know.
Something.
Air fryers. Yeah, that was like a kind of weird thing. Now, how are you guys doing?
Well, no, most scams are like people send things like expensive things, not these.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe it was a scam at first or something. Amazon got to be able. They're a big company. They got to be able to investigate this. But now you're doing this for the Children's Hospital. Anybody listening, any way they can help, donate anything? How's that go? Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so anyone who's interested in donating can reach out to my business page. We're Loaded Lumber. You can find us. We're located in Buffalo, so you can go through our Buffalo page or our main page. It's just www.loadedlumber.com. And you can send us a message there and what you're interested in donating. And obviously, we're going to give credit where credit's due to anyone that's reaching out and helping us, make this come to a reality. So yeah, you can send us a message directly through our website. There it is, right there,
Loaded Lumber.
Yeah.
Now tell us more. You're a business owner. We got the Amazon, but now we support small business. We turn Hungry for Hope. We're actually a nonprofit. We're a little small business. We consider ourselves. What's Loaded Lumber? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we're a DIY studio. We're originally located in Buffalo, New York, but we also license and sell our business to people so that they can open a Loaded Lumber in their area. So it's a DIY studio. The classes are about 3 hours long, start to finish. You come in, we give you the power tools, you build your board, you stain it, you paint it, and you leave with a one-of-a-kind piece that you've created. So obviously, Loaded Lumber, there's alcohol involved and power tools, and it's a really fun experience.
Sounds like fun. How long have you been doing that?
Yeah.
How long's Loaded Lumber?
We've been in business about 5 years.
How was it during the pandemic? We brought a lot of small business owners who got hit. How was that?
Pretty crazy. So because we're in New York, obviously, our restrictions are kind of the last ones to be lifted here, and we're a bar because we serve alcohol. So every time restaurants and bars shut down, we shut down too. So fortunately, we were able to keep everyone that we had on staff at the time working. We were able to have one person in the studio at a time, and we just shift focus and started delivering things directly to people's doors. So we mailed things all around the country throughout all of COVID. And so we were able to really thrive during the pandemic, which I know is like crazy to say for a lot of small business owners, but we were really, really lucky with all the support that we received throughout all of it. So, I mean, just another reason why we want to find a way to give back to the community that supported us through one of our hardest times.
That's so awesome. I can tell you're real community oriented, man. What you're doing is awesome. I just love. I'm sure your kids watching it. Your kids must really. What do they think about all this? But watching you turn this into something so positive, what do they think when the boxes? It was probably fun for them, right?
Oh, they had an absolute blast. They loved the bubble wrap. They were running around the front yard building with the boxes and everything else like that. I mean, every time a package came, they were like, "There's another one here. Whose name is on it?" And they're all tackling each other, trying to get to the front door and figure out who it's for. But I mean, they're super creative and really go with the flow. They've been home the last year. Their school was 2 days in person and 3 days virtual. So they've been a really big part of Loaded Lumber and everything that we've done. So they know how we operate. Like, we're going to figure out a way to make a positive out of a negative situation.
That's awesome. Your story's awesome. I appreciate you coming on. I just thought, we had to get you in. We have a great guest today, but I love your story. I love how you're turning negative into positive. I'm sure everybody can check out loadedlumber.com. And if we're in Buffalo, I'm coming and doing power tools and drinking.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know when you're in Buffalo.
All right, I just want to thank you, man. I'll let you back to your kids, your dog, and have a wonderful night, Jill. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys, too. Thanks so much for having me.
See you. Power tools and alcohol. That sounds dangerous. That's all.
Sounds like a good time.
Elizabeth, we got you in here for the real interview, but how about, what do you think about power tools and alcohol? I got to ask you.
Not my thing.
No, you don't. I'm thinking about starting my own out here. It's called Power Tools and Alcohol.
Power tools and alcohol.
That's pretty cool. I love seeing small business owners supporting the community. What do you think about Jill's story, Tim?
I mean, it's a crazy story. First off, nobody seems to care that like $100,000 in masks end up in somebody's Amazon's just like, meh, keep them. But Amazon steps up. At first, they were like turning down going into partnership with her to do these little kits, but then they ended up doing it, which is great. But it just blows my mind. Like, nobody cared, and whoever it was coming from wasn't like, made a big deal out of it. It's a lot of masks.
Yeah, the thing that caught me was what do you say?
Nah, so that's terrific. Like,
yeah, it's still bizarre. Like, where did these masks come from?
I would have been selling $1 masks at a time. Just been like, all right, get a quick 100,000.
Oh, I would think, like, why couldn't it be chocolate or something? Or you said puppies, I think. Like, why couldn't it be something cool? But could you imagine getting 150 boxes of puppies?
I don't know how that would work out.
There's a will, there's a way.
But poke holes in the boxes.
We had our awesome guest Jillian. She shared her story, but we got live in the studio Elizabeth Starr, man, and I can't wait to hear her story. So we can talk about boxes of puppies and whatever later, Tim. But let's get on. Elizabeth, thank you for sharing. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me over here.
No problem. It's our honor. Your local, you came by the one time to support us. You supported us getting shirts.
Yes.
I've been following your fitness journey. I admire everything you've been doing. It's pretty awesome. So tell us, we're bringing you on to tell your story, how you went from obese to dreaming yours to compete in physique competitions. Tell us how all that started, your journey.
How it all started, okay. Well, it has been a journey. It was originally my New Year's resolution for the year 2013. So right in 2012, that's when I was my heaviest, and I was saying that I'm not happy looking this way anymore. So I've always wanted to be slimmer, and I've always wanted to be athletic. And so what I did was I just decided, the first small step that I took was cutting out soda from my diet, or just from my everyday. And so that led to, me wanting to do diets then, and then me learning I hired personal trainers at different gyms that I belonged to at the time. And, I committed myself to seeing them and, putting a hold on life, if you will, because I wanted to take care of myself. And so I, started going every night, and that's when it turned into, like, me, like, it gets addicting after a while, because, I mean, like, first of all, like, I lost 20 pounds, but it's been such, like, a big back and forth journey. Like, it was never just directly, like, me going to 100. So.
Yeah, so you said you started around 2013, around New Year's.
Yes.
Was it your goal when you started off? Did you say, hey, did you put, like, 100... that number down and say, I'm going to lose 100?
I did. I said, I'm going to lose 100 pounds because I did not like the number that I was, and I did not like the size that I was either. And so I was like, if I'm 100 pounds lighter than what I am now, then that's the ideal weight that I plan on, where I'd like to sit with my weight.
So say if somebody's listening and they want to go on this weight loss journey, and I think it's so awesome when I love seeing people in the gym who are trying to change their bodies, man. It's always been something I admired. Where were your first step was, did you have a gym membership? You went and got a gym membership, or I would say?
I had a gym membership, but I wasn't consistent with going. So, I mean, I would go, but it was like, before when I wasn't dedicated, like I would just be like, yeah, we'll do the cardio, play around with some machines and whatnot. But then once I made that resolution, that's when I was like, I need to make this part of my life now. I can't just do this as leisure.
You said a great word, consistency, man. I tell people that
consistency is key.
It's a great word, right?
Yes.
I tell everybody that in life, man. Like a lot of times when people get in the gym, I notice they do these New Year's resolutions, and they haven't been in the gym. They just go and they try to drain themselves right away, and they end up doing like nonstop gym for like 2 months, and then you never see them again. And I tell them, just be consistent. You don't have to overdo it. Just say, hey, I'm going to go 4 days a week and be consistent.
Yeah, you start out small. Yep, because that's what I was doing. I started going just 3 days a week. Then 3 days a week turned into 5 days a week. And then now it's like I'm doing 6 days a week pretty much.
You know how you get to the top of a mountain, right? Take that first step.
Yes, got to keep climbing.
I think it's something like that. First climb, I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds good, but so how long, you said you lost 20 pounds?
At first, yep. And then that's when I was like, this is going to be easy for me to get to 100. And so that's just it. Like, life then happens, and so then you end up putting weight back on. And then I was very, like, people say the word yo-yo weight. And so I kept going back and forth with it. Like, I was losing 10, and then I was putting 10 back on. And then losing here, and then a little bit more, and then still taking, like, 10 steps back afterwards. So it was never, like, people want, results, and they think that it's just like, one way, and they can be completely tunnel vision with it. But it's actually dealing with the obstacles in life that, that can interfere and throw off your focus. So that's why it's important for you to, you have to keep yourself accountable.
Yeah. So you said, you said you put the 20 pounds on, something you bring up. You said you put on like 10 pounds, and then you go back and you put it on, you take it off, you put it on. And that stuff's probably frustrating when you have this, like, this was your goal, your dream, you want to call it, you had these big aspirations, and then once you, like, would put that weight back on, was there ever, what encouraged you, what kept you going during them days? I know it couldn't have been easy. What was going through your head? How did you keep on going and said, hey, I can do this?
Well, I mean, of course, like, yeah, I felt like, how could I do this to myself? I was doing so good. And then, so that's when, then I kind of, like, got myself in check, and I'm like, you gotta just go back, just keep going.
Now, did you first start off with a personal trainer? What was the first system? You said you did the gym. Did you have somebody doing a diet, somebody training you? How did that all work out?
I did have personal trainers, but I mean, when I first got into the gym that I belonged to at the time, I was, trying to teach myself, but I was also mainly someone that used cardio a lot. Like, I was always on the elliptical, Stairmaster, treadmill, all that stuff.
I'm out of breath just you saying that. I'm out of breath. I broke a huge sweat.
I enjoyed doing that more than actually, like, doing the weights. But now it's like today, it's like I enjoy, doing weights now. And yeah, cardio is now, it's needed, but it's not as enjoyable.
Now that's crazy how you're saying you did you weren't big into the weights, because I follow your journey now, and you're like one of the females I know who's like so good at it, so dedicated to it. When did it change from you're doing the cardio to like, hey, I really like this bodybuilding, these weights, that aspect of it?
once I started seeing, learning how to use weights and everything like that, that's when I was like, you know what, this is actually not so bad at all. And so then there were days I like training legs and shoulders.
Me too.
Yes. And so, I would push myself thinking, okay, last time I trained shoulders, I lifted it at this weight. And so then this time around, be like, let me try a little bit more. So then I'd increase it each time I'd go back and then just push myself further, because it's here it's 10 pounds heavier. But, it may only seem like 10 pounds, but it's it made such a difference, though.
It's the one thing I always share people or tell them, learning to get people just think you lift weights. I played sports my whole life, collegiate sports, and I remember when I first really got into the gym lifestyle, I thought I knew it all. I went to college, I played football, I've been around strength and conditioning my whole life. When I really sat down, I was like, I know nothing about the body. It was in my early 20s, and I went and bought the Schwarzenegger encyclopedia, I think it was, best $50 I ever spent, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then, because if you're going to dedicate yourself to something, you should really know. I know so many people who put in tons of hours, but they're not doing it right. Do you think that was a big part, you actually getting the help and learning?
Yeah, it was definitely me, teaching myself. And then that's when I realized, I probably do need help with this. So that's why I went ahead and hired personal trainers that they had working there at the gym at the time.
Now we mentioned, congratulations. First off, you had a physique competition this week. Congratulations on everything.
Yeah, thank you.
But was that when you first started, your goal was to lose 100 pounds?
Yes.
Did it ever come to you, or was it in the beginning where you said, hey, I want to compete in these bodybuilding competitions? Was that a goal in the beginning? Was it?
I'll tell you what, I actually, when I initially just wanted to lose just to be slim, just to look good in clothes, just to look good in a bathing suit, wear a bikini in public and not be ashamed about it, and then I actually started, the more I went to the gym, the more people were there, and you meet people from all over, and, I met people that actually were training to compete at the time. And I was like, you know what, that seems pretty cool. And so then I remember seeing the poster right before, going to the bathrooms there, they had the poster up of an upcoming show. And I was like, you know what, I think I'd like to do one of those someday.
And when was this? You started your journey really in 2013. Do you remember when you saw that poster? Was that early on?
That was actually in the early times, yeah.
Yeah, so you hadn't even really, like you said, in the early times you were making progress, falling back. So this was early. This was when, your dream prior, seemed pretty far away. You just had that dream and you saw that poster and you just said, hey.
So, yeah, initially what I did was my New Year's resolution was I'm going to lose weight. But then, once I got to the gym, learned more information, found out some things, and then that's when I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? That looks really cool. And I was like, I think my goal is to be able to compete in one of them, be qualified to do that.
Did you tell people from the beginning? Did you share that with other people?
I'll be honest, I really didn't, because you do tell people things, and a lot of people will talk you out of it. Oh, come on, that's a pipe dream. That's not feasibly possible. And so that's when I did not want to tell anybody that, because what I was training to do, because then a lot of people, they would also look at it they see bikini competitions and they think it's sexuality and everything like that. It's not like that. And so I just kept it to myself. I was like, I just know that I'm telling everybody that I just want to look good. I want to look good for myself. I definitely want, everyone to see a difference when they see me in the future. But I kept competing to myself, the wish to compete to myself.
Yeah, sometimes, I understand. I did that when I first started professional wrestling. I kind of kept it a secret because people
talk you out of things.
Yeah, they'll talk you out, and they just say, you got to grow up. You got to be more realistic. Don't do this. Because, if somebody's willing, there's a difference between a dream that you're not putting the work in, and then there's a difference between a dream where you're actually getting up and you're trying to make that dream. Like anybody, I could say I want to go to the moon. If I don't wake up and go to astronaut school,
you're not going to go to the moon then.
That's just a pipe dream. But if I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, Donnie's in NASA, or Donnie's doing this, then people can do anything in this world. I've seen people do amazing things, man.
Yeah.
And some people, if you see somebody putting in the work like you were, everybody should be in your corner because I can go a long way too. I'm sure your trainer was probably pretty supportive.
Of course, yeah. I still keep in touch with trainers from my early days. I think we keep in touch on Facebook. They see me. They saw that I did the competition this past weekend. And they've said, I'm very proud of you.
So that's awesome. We're proud of you too. But
thank you.
You started 2013. Did you start seeing like differences in your moods when you found that lifestyle? You were dieting and everything too. Did it change any? Like I've heard so many people, they've had like depression and anxiety, and it's gone away with the gym. Did it help how did your life feel once you started going towards this healthy lifestyle?
It definitely gave me better energy. Like I felt better about myself because again, like when you see results, after all the work that you've been put in, I go for more. So that's exactly what happened was like I felt good. I was like, wow, like I've only been going here for like 4 weeks and here I am like down, I'm just going to say, for example, like 10 pounds. And so that kept me going. And so I was like, yeah, I did that. So that's why like I just kept it consistent afterwards.
Yeah, it's not easy. Like we have Tim, you work with boxers, you're big into boxing, a lot of weight loss in that. Have you been around seeing boxers go through these dramatic changes or any kind of fighters, MMA guys?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them, before every fight, they go through dramatic changes because you'll have guys walking around at 190 pounds and they'll have to cut weight. And then it's like hell on earth for them for a week before with, like, it's no diet. It's just not eating, not drinking, dehydrating their whole body just to step on that scale.
Yeah, no, you always talk about back in the day. I think you interviewed one of my favorite boxers, Tyson Fury. I remember him. He went through a real dark time in his life where he was in addiction and depression, and then he's the greatest boxer in the world. But he said one of the things he did was start losing that weight he had gained and stuff.
Yeah, he took time off and got real heavy. So it was a long road back to him. Getting him back in the ring, getting him for that title shot against against Deontay Wilder. But, he dropped the weight. He started working hard, and eventually the pound shed and he got back to his fighting weight.
Yeah, I thought his story is awesome. And there's so much that losing weight and doing that lifestyle I know for me it's been a catalyst in my life for so long. I feel, it's almost like my happy place.
Yeah, it is my happy place. Yeah, when you get in the zone, Yeah,
you got involved. You started working in the gym too at one point, right?
At one point I was, yes.
So you really dove into this community. Now you started 2013. You eventually lost 100 pounds. How was the year like? When did you get to that goal?
It took me 3 years to get to, because it was like a lot of back and forth, and it was going uphill and then falling back a bit. So, but I mean, once I did the 100 pounds, I kept my pair of jeans from when I was my largest in size, and I just kept, looking at them. And then once I got to the 100 pounds down, I remember buying a pair of jeans that I could comfortably fit in, and then just holding them up together and seeing the both of them. And it's I can't believe this is me at one point.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah. Was
there something that, on them days, I know even me, I went through some down points in my life.
Yeah.
And when I was putting everything back together, there was them days where I just kind of want to quit. I asked myself, was this worth it? Is this the right thing?
Yeah.
I just want to go back to my old ways. And, I had stuff I'd keep around from my old times that would motivate me. And so that's what motivated you on your darkest days during this fitness journey. I know it's not easy. I did personal training. I've been around the gym my whole life. I've seen people just struggle with this. That was one of the things, looking at your pant sizes before. Is that one of the things that got you through them days you just wanted to throw the towel in?
And it would kind of bother me if, the friends want to go out with, during the week and whatnot. But I was I've got goals to meet, and I was too committed to it, and it'd be well, I'll see you guys again. And then apparently I haven't seen these people in 5 years. So, but that's just it. I've missed out on life, because when you have a goal and then you keep consistent with it and you do nothing but, work for it. Yeah. Unfortunately you do miss out on some things. I remember we had a conversation. You said you've missed out on parties and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember like getting in the wrestling. I remember in the beginning
training for you.
It was hard for me to understand. I was, I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, I want to have fun with my friends. I want to go to all these parties. And my trainer told me, like, Donnie, you might miss weddings. You might miss July 4th parties. You might miss birthdays, family outings, nights at the bar with your buddies.
Yes.
I was like, but if this is really what you want,
it is.
If this is your goal, it's all going to be worth it at the end. And, when somebody's saying that to you, it sounds great, but it's hard to, like, in the head you're thinking, like, I still got 100 pounds to go, or say 80 pounds, like, or when I just started off in wrestling, I'm, like, thinking in my head, like, it's hard to kind of sell yourself on it. Anybody can sell you, but you really got to be dedicated.
And I'm a now or never kind of person. So that's why, so when you said, like, missing out on nice bars with friends or, like, going out, missing weddings, like, even to this day, like, people are like, if I invite you to my wedding, can you eat? And I'm like, well, I'll see what I can do. I'll try to color outside the lines, not go too obnoxious here.
I'm sure some people are more supportive than others. I know you speak about your family a lot. Your dad, you have mentioned, been a great support system. Your parents.
Yes.
You tell us about your support system. People helped you along the way. Anybody, trainers, who's some of the people who you look back and you're like, these are the people who really influenced my fitness journey?
Well, I do have to mention my coach. His name is Rich Tuma. He is the owner of RTN Supplements, and he has been working with me since 2018. I met him at the gym that I was working at the time. And again, I still had that dream that I wanted to compete. Now, he met me not knowing me at all, and he asked me, like, he set up a demo that day, because we would have, like, days on the weekend where, small little companies would come out and, like, they'd just promote themselves, give out samples, have, sales of what they're all about and everything. And, just, me working the counter, like, of course I'm going to talk to, the person who's here, setting up. And so that's when he asked me, he was like, do you compete? And that's when it kind of struck me, because I never in my life, with being the size that I once was and kind of keeping that, like, body image problem, if I can call it, keeping that mindset that I wasn't, like, there, a complete stranger, not knowing that I lost 100 pounds. I was like, yeah, that's definitely my coach right there. I'm working with him, because it's like, this man did not know me. And, it felt so good that, especially with him, and his, professionalism and what he does, it meant everything to me that he noticed me as a competitor when I never once competed before. And so that was also, like, a goal met of mine, because I was like, I want people to look like I look the part.
Yeah, that must have been cool having, friends and family. A lot of them, they'll support us, so they might tell us, like, hey, you're doing awesome, you look great, but in the back of your head, you're like, they want to tell me if I wasn't, would they?
Right.
So having a guy who's a professional, like you said, real professional gentleman, that's what he's into. Having him come to you to kind of validate.
Hearing that from him meant I never thought I'd get recognized as, somebody that looked that part and fit that scene.
So when you met him, is that when you, I know it was a dream of yours to do, but is that when you started training to do a physique competition, or? Well,
I told him, I said, no, I'd like to do a competition someday in the future. I understand they take a lot of work to train for. It's not something that you can obviously do in 3 weeks. And so that's when I told him, like, he told me about what he offers, and that's when I said, okay, well, I believe I'd like to work with you.
So you talk about, like we were talking to Tim about what boxers go through to get ready for a big fight. How was the process training for it? We'll call it the fight, your physique competition. Did you pick a date? Do you need a certain amount of months? Get us into that world.
Pretty much at 18 weeks out is when you decide, like, they decide that the show is going to be set. They'll give you, like, a year's notice, but that's when, like, training pretty much starts.
And for our viewers who aren't good with numbers or counting, how long is 18 weeks, you said?
Yeah, 18 weeks.
How many months is that?
Oh, gosh.
Just
I don't know, Donnie.
4.5 months.
I have to say, we have some users that can't count, they can't spell. We're just
I'm
trying
going
to
by
make sure.
weeks here.
All right. So I put you on the spot.
Yeah, you
like
did.
That. You were doing too good. You were rolling through the questions. I had to just hit you with the boom.
Gee, thanks.
So 18 weeks. Now, Tim, I bring the boxing things. I like, it's like a sport. I put them. How long is a fighting camp usually in weeks or months or days for a fighter? Would you say the average? Is there an average?
It all depends when the fight's signed and when the fight. Boxing, it could be sporadic. It could be a week. You could just not even have camp and have to go cut weight. It could be 9 weeks. I think 9 weeks is about where it's at.
Yeah, I remember we had Joey the Tank on. He said he was a pro boxer and he got last minute a week to train. You obviously want to be able to do that in bodybuilding, say unless you were ready or a week's notice.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not. When I see that a show is usually the promoters will share the event and they will announce, hey, it's 18 weeks out, everybody get ready. And so that's when I start to buckle down. And that's when I'm like, okay, no more coloring outside the lines. That's what I call it, coloring outside the lines. I'm still eating clean, but it's yes, I can enjoy with my family, some barbecued chicken versus, my chicken. So.
What got you hooked on the coloring out? Is it because our previous guest said she put crowns in the bags to give to the children? Is that
you know what? I like that, but I've always used that.
We're a colorful show today. A lot of crowns. I like it.
I was gonna wear my green shirt also, by the way.
But you didn't.
But I wore a green dress, so there.
Yeah, close enough, right? Does it say hungry? Does it say hungry for hope on it?
No, but I'll be hungry
I know
in
it
an
doesn't.
hour and a half.
For hope, right?
Yes,
for
absolutely.
Hope. Your story is definitely one about hope. So when was your first competition? You started in 2013. You had this goal to lose 100 pounds. You just weren't happy with your image. You set this goal. And you had setbacks. Just in anything, man. People always want that instant gratification.
Yeah, exactly.
And when people don't get it, they go back to their old ways. That's the number one thing I personally see in fitness when I was doing training.
You know, when you don't get results.
Yeah, I've seen it, and it's sad because I'm just so many people have quit right before that miracle happens. You know how many people they didn't realize, they were so close to seeing that change, and then they quit. It takes a lot out of a person.
I've heard that when the moment that you're ready to quit is usually the moment that something is about to change.
Absolutely, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe in that, and I understand why people quit, man. Going through anything in life, man, change. May it be we see a lot of people who they're coming from addiction or any kind of thing in their life where they're trying to change their life around. Hunger for Hope's all about that. And when they don't see the results right away or they go back into their old ways.
Why am I wasting my time?
And then know what happens? 2 years later, they want to change again. And they're like, why didn't I do it then? Why nobody's ever been happy that they gave up. I'm sure you never would have been happy if you put on that weight, you took the weight off, put it back on, and you quit. I'm sure 10 years from now you would have regretted it.
Absolutely.
Have you ever regretted? Was there one day you regretted hey, I regret losing this weight and chasing this dream people told me I probably couldn't do, losing 100 pounds and doing? Was there any day you regretted it?
I'll tell you what. After I did lose the 100 pounds, because I did end up getting a tummy tuck this past August. Because another thing that made me feel defeated was having, coming from such a larger size, your body, unfortunately that's how it works, but I had the excess skin. Sorry. And that actually killed my confidence more than when I was initially overweight.
So yeah, how was that? I know you put in that work, but some things you just can't control. So when you did get that tummy tuck, how did that feel? I've been following you during it, the recovery process. How did that feel?
It felt like a huge burden has just been lifted off of me. because that's just it. That was the weight that was keeping my confidence, that was crushing my confidence down.
So you got that within like the last year?
August.
August
2020.
Now, I know you just competed this week. Did you compete before you got the tummy tuck?
I did. Yes, I did.
When was your first competition? How was it training for that? And tell us a little about that.
My first competition was the NPC Big Cat in Allentown, and that was October 2019. And I stuck with my goal, saying that, like, I'm eligible to compete now. But I mean, yes, in the back of my mind, I was like, I do understand I'm up against, girls that look absolutely phenomenal. And then here I am, like, with my excess skin. Mm-hmm. But I was like, but you know what? I mean, I lost 100 pounds. So that doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of sharing the same stage as them.
That's awesome. I was going to bring that up. I'm sure like some people, we get there and they might, anybody who did a dramatic change, regardless, any kind of lifestyle change, they might get to other people and they might think in your head, our head can trick us a lot and it tell us, hey, you're not worthy of this. You used to be 100 pounds heavy. You don't belong on stage.
And I've had, and like throughout the years, like, I have had, naysayers and people like tell me like, Liz, just give up. It's not your scene. Don't do it. You're only making yourself look dumb. And that's just it too. They're like, you don't want to look like that. Like, go out embarrassing yourself. But it's like, I'm proud of what I've accomplished. And so that's why, I was like, I belong here. I have worked so hard,
So many people out there trying to do goal. They have these naysayers. We've been talking about it. So if there's somebody listening, they're trying to change their life, man. They're trying to get out of a rock bottom, or just they have a goal and they're really trying. And they have people telling them, like, stop, you're not good enough, you're not worthy. What do you have to say to them as somebody who took a dream and made it a reality?
I say if anybody tries to talk you out of your dream, don't listen to them, because they are so full of it. And that just means that they can't do it themselves, and that they'll never have the capability to do it for themselves either.
That's awesome. We had Gene just commented. We have people commenting. He's the host of Wire to Wire Sports. They're actually a sports show on after. He said to him, he thinks someone that's competing in that and has lost so much weight, they stand out more positively for him than the other person. That's a great point, man. I always say I just love like a underdog story. Some people, they just might have been born with these great physiques and stuff and genetics, and that's cool. That's awesome. You're born into this genetic pool of genetic gods for physique and bodybuilding. I've seen it. But I like somebody who wasn't. Somebody who had to fight, to claw their way to the top, and it wasn't an easy journey, especially you starting with a goal of 100 pounds. You started in 2013. And then you finally did that first competition where we had 2019, was it?
Yeah, in 2019.
So was your family there? These people who, I'm sure you did have some people supporting you through the whole thing.
Yeah, my teammates were there. My teammates and I, we go out to each other's shows to, cheer each other on. I let people know about that I will be competing and like when the competition is, but it's usually an all-day event. So that's when I tell everybody, I was like, I appreciate you wanting to come out, but you got to understand, like, it doesn't mean like, you get there and you get all comfortable in your seat and then all of a sudden, I'm on in 15 minutes. No, they've got like men's bodybuilding, men's physique, men's classic physique that they have to go through all before they go through the women. And so that, if you're there for, I want to say like 3 hours, that's expected. So, I mean, and people get antsy after a while, for 3 hours. I mean, what can you do in 3 hours besides, just watch Titanic maybe, but...
Whoa, Titanic.
But no, I mean, you get bored after a while.
I was going to say, listen to Hungry for Hope podcast replays on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. It's also available on toxicradio.net. That's what I would do in my free time. Mm-hmm. We had amazing episodes recently. We had a flyer on. We have boxers. We have your amazing story. That's what I would do with 3 hours. But who am I to? I'm just throwing ideas out.
Who are you, Donnie?
You like that little plug? So let's get back to serious business. You did your first one in 2019.
Yes.
And then the next one was 2021?
The second show was actually that following weekend, and that one was in Ohio. So 2 back-to-back shows. My first one, and it was 2 back-to-back.
2 back-to-back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the point where you went from doing the competitions without the tummy tuck to when you moved to the point. I know this was your first show. This probably because of the pandemic.
Surgery,
this was your first show. You just had it this Saturday. You competed. You took 3rd place. Am I correct?
In my class. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome job. But tell us the difference, because that's a huge difference. Now you went from doing it without getting this tummy tuck, and then you went to this tummy tuck. This week you had the first competition after getting surgery. How was that compared to the other ones?
Oh, well, I knew that, when I competed, before surgery, I was like, that's all that everyone's going to look right at is when they're going to see, oh, God, she's got extra weight. She doesn't look like the rest of the girls, So that's why this time around, I'm like, you know what? They're not going to be looking at my stomach like that anymore. So that's not there for me to worry. And so that's why I had more confidence in my presentation.
That's awesome. And you talk about, you came in 3rd place, all these peaks. During your journey from 2013 to now, what would you say was that peak moment, the moment you were proudest, the moment you sat down, you looked yourself in the mirror, and you said, Elizabeth Starr, you kicked ass, you did this. Did you have a moment like that? Was there any top moment?
Actually, it was the moment that I was walking into the surgery center to get my tummy tuck, because that to me was I felt it was never going to happen, but I was like, nope, I'm going in. My appointment's the doctor's waiting.
Yeah, knowing that was the only thing you had left. You did all the
knowing
stuff
that
you can't control.
Yep.
You did all the work that you can control.
Yes.
I understand that must have been awesome. But we can't have these happy moments without the ones that are a little down, the sadder ones. What did you have a moment from 2013 to now that really just? I know you mentioned some stuff, but there's one that you just said maybe people were right. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe I don't belong. Was there ever a moment where you just felt like defeated?
Absolutely. Because another thing too is that, and I know this is probably, I don't want to say inappropriate to discuss, but I am natural. So I do not use enhancing drugs.
What do you mean by natural? You're not on steroids? Is that what you're saying for our viewers?
I'm not on steroids, no.
Would you be open to Jamie, our sound guy, our producer? If he gave you a drug test, would you be open for performance enhancing drugs? Jamie, do you have a cup?
I'd come clean. I would be clean.
Oh, all right. I'm just kidding.
Well,
no, but you take pride in that.
I take pride in that. Yeah, I'll let everybody know.
Now, is there?
I'm natural.
In bodybuilding and stuff, I guess that's pretty rampant. Performance enhancing drugs, steroids.
Yes. I mean, there are natural divisions. Natural organizations, and whereas the one that I have chosen, that's not drug tested. Now, I have done shows in Ohio that are, they are promoted as natural. But I will share the stage with somebody that does steroids, because, and I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but I've got a journey, whereas they had a shortcut. So
what do you, if there's females out there, they want to get involved in this world, and they might be thinking, hey, maybe I should take a shortcut. What do you have to say?
You're only going to hurt yourself doing shortcuts, because shortcuts are, just a temporary fix. Whether you do fad diets, you lose the 10 pounds, but then, you get you get so happy that that you did that, you go back to your old ways, and then boom, 10 pounds is put back on, and then some more. Yeah. So, and shortcuts don't last.
Yeah, you make up a great point. Even, I've been in the bodybuilding world for a while, too. I've been there, even pro wrestling. I remember a lot of people, they come and they want that shortcut. They want that quick fix. That they haven't been training. They haven't been going to the gym. The first thing they do, they're like, oh, I got to take a steroid or some kind of performance enhancer. And, before I'm not going to change their opinion if they want to do that. But I tell them first, before you do that, give the dedication, because the steroids people don't understand. They think they take this magic pill. No, you got to put in the work. You put in that hard work.
Yeah.
And if you put in that hard work, and then I think if people do that hard work and they finally see the results, they might realize they can do this naturally. But I tell anybody who's out there who wants to do that, see what your body's really made of before you go down something that dangerous and could harm you. And then if you decide after you put that hard work in that you want to do that, then you came up with that decision as an adult. But usually people first pick that because they don't want to put the work in. We all want shortcuts.
We all want shortcuts, yeah.
They just think that they take this magic pill or injection, it's good. So I just always tell people, see what your body can do before you decide to take a shortcut, and then make that decision. And the bodybuilding world, everybody, it's big, Just that's how it is, I guess, right? Are you like one of the outsiders that being somebody who doesn't do that, or?
Well, I mean, it's noticeable that, when I do go on stage, that you'll see that, I'm not chiseled. I don't have abs that look like an ice cube tray. I'm not, fully conditioned and, dried out looking like, just dried out and everything like that. But looking like a raisin, you know what I mean? So, no, I mean, I'll tell people, I'll gladly tell people that I am natural. And, my journey is everything to me, and nobody can ever take that away from me.
Absolutely. Nobody can ever take that away from that. That's great right there. So you compete in how many competitions now?
This was my third competition so 2 in 2019, and then the past one this weekend. So 3.
Your story, it's one of hope, and we're hungry for hope. How fitting, this journey from being 2013, you having this. Some people might have called it a far-fetched dream of losing 100 pounds, competing in this physique competition, and along the way you had a lot of naysayers. You had hard days. Like I said, Hungry for Hope is all about hope. During this journey, I'm sure you went through a lot. I just got to ask you, Elizabeth, what does the word hope mean to you?
Hope to me is a sign of never giving up, always putting your all into everything that you do, your drive, your focus, completely being, free of distractions. I mean, distractions are all around, but it's how you, and the obstacles, it's how you deal with them.
That's awesome. We have Tim Kudges. Tim, what do you? Anything you just heard this testimony of hers? Anything you would like to add or ask?
No, definitely congratulations on
you.
your entire story. One question I kept thinking about, and I heard you mention it, there was a little dieting. Then you also mentioned the fad dieting.
Yeah.
How did you prepare? Did you meal prep for when you were getting ready for these, or did you have a certain diet that you followed?
Yes, my coach has me follow a meal plan.
Okay.
According to my, my nutrition, all my macros and everything. And there's also water cycle that you have to do as well. So, yes, meal plans change every week pretty much, or every 2 weeks. And so nothing's ever really the same. Gotcha. And that's why another thing too is that, you are eating the same food a majority of the time. So you do have to learn how to cook it differently. I mean, you do get tired of, air fried chicken after the longest time. So now that it's nice out, we're putting chicken out on the grill, or we're doing the crock pot and we can have shredded chicken that way. But yeah, I mean, you gotta definitely try other ways when it comes to being creative with your food.
Yeah, just throw El Wingador's hot sauce on everything.
Yeah, you can put El Wingador hot sauce. Well, you get that on elwingadorsauce.com, right, Tim?
Correct.
That's great stuff.
I'll have to try some of that.
You got to get some. If I had some, I'd give it to you. We're going to get you a bottle. We have so many. They go so quick, though, man. We go through boxes of this wing sauce. I put it on everything. I put it on my eggs.
Yeah, I put hot sauce on eggs,
Yeah, he's a great dude. Great sauce. But let's get back to the chick of the moment, you. So I remember when I first saw your journey, and I saw, regardless, even if I didn't know where you came from, seeing what you accomplished, that's cool. But me, I just like when somebody really came from down and out to get that in the the physique world. If you're saying you're 100 pounds, you had to go, and I just thought, I was like, man, this person, I wonder if she even realizes how inspiring she is to people. Now that you've been able to achieve this amazing goal, and it's first off, it's absolutely awesome. Has anybody, people watching, other females who have this dream or body issues, have they came to you and and said, "Hey, what you did is
I
inspiring."
have friends ask me all the time for meal plans, but it's like, and I give them, I'll support them and say, like, I'm happy that you're going to start this diet, but then they're only on it for like 3 days, and then 3 days later, they're back to their old ways, and then they forget all about the diet. And so I'm like, okay, what was my trying to help here?
Yeah, we that's just how life is. Even like we have people reach out to us and they're in like a down and out spot and they like want to change their life, and then we do the work and we try to get them whatever in the treatment or whatever their problem is.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's what they say.
We had a viewer say, "Great, encouraging story." I agree.
Thank you.
How does that make you feel, having people come to you, the person who was obese, had to lose all this weight, and now they're coming to you as like the role model, their mentor, somebody who inspires them? How does that feel? If you go back to Elizabeth Starr 2013 to how it feels now, how does that feel?
I mean, I never thought, people would be, look up to me in that aspect. Because, considering that, like, I'm very humble with it about myself. So I'm just, they want to say, "Oh, man, you lost 100 pounds." And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, I still, don't even accept it sometimes.
Yeah, and the one thing, just with anything, when people see people change their life around, they think, oh, got lucky. No, this isn't something that happened overnight. This is something that was dedication, hard work, and you had to push through them bad days. We all get them. So anybody listening, I just wanted to know, you're not gonna get all that overnight, man. There's a lot of you just got consistency. That was the word you started the conversation with. Be consistent, and you can do anything. You can go lose 100 pounds. You can gain 100 pounds. You can.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do anything.
Before we get out of here, we got Hungry for Hope Nation. Do you have anything to say to them? Anybody listening? Anybody support? Anybody? Do you have a message you want to leave before we get out of here?
I just want to say congratulations to my mentor, Kimberly Sayers. She just won her IFBB Pro card this past weekend at the NPC Junior Nats in Tennessee. I am so proud of her.
That's awesome.
Yes. I look up to her, with the whole competition scene. And, she took me for my surgery, and she's one of the best people I've ever met in my life.
That's so awesome. Elizabeth, I want to thank you for giving us this hour of your time. It's been awesome. Hungry for Hope Nation, I want to thank you. Also, anybody who's listening and they still want to listen to some, we have Wire to Wire Sports coming on after. They're a great podcast on Toxic Radio. Toxic Radio have tons of great podcasts, man. I just always want to support them guys, so tune into them. But again, I want to thank Hungry for Hope Nation, Elizabeth, everybody who tuned in. Tim, Donnie, we're out of here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.